Good afternoon. I am Amy Lambert. How are you this afternoon?
I'm good.
Before we get started with this counseling session, I just have a few things that I want to go over with you. I am practicing under Dr. Amy Belmore, so if you have any questions about the session or have anything further that is not covered, then feel free to contact her with any questions. A little bit about my educational background. I'm working on a bachelor's in religion and practical theology from Pfeiffer University, and I hope to be able to implement some of these skills in that field. Something that you can expect is very open, and we can just kind of work on skills to handle and work through whatever you might be wanting to talk about with us today. Since I am not a licensed professional, today there is no fees. Based on confidentiality, everything that you say is going to stay in between us unless you are harming yourself, you have thoughts of harming another person, or you know of harm being done to a minor or an elder or to another person. In those situations, then I would have to consult with someone else on that. As far as your records, anything that is put in notes will be put in a file. You can have access to that if you really desire to look at those records. But for the most part, that is going to be locked away unless otherwise certain circumstances would permit for me to have to release those. If you'll please sign, and that's just showing that you agree with all of the terms that I just went over, and if you have any questions, you can feel free to ask them.
Okay, I don't really have any questions, so I'll just go ahead and sign.
Okay, perfect. So, what brought you in today? What are you thinking about? What's going on inside of that little head of yours?
So I really struggle, I think, with being a perfectionist. When things get out of my control, I start to get very anxious.
Right.
And so I've noticed it a lot with definitely school, and then things that I'm preparing myself for the future, with grad school and everything. It just really gets me on edge and very anxious.
So you said you have anxiety because you want things to be just right or a specific way?
Right.
Is that what you're kind of saying?
So when things kind of get out of my control and I have to put it in someone else's control, then I get a lot of anxiety and I start to freak out.
So do you think that what do you think where does that stem from? Does it stem from schoolwork? What triggers it?
I definitely think schoolwork. If I don't do well on an assignment, I really freak out and stuff. And then I also play softball, and so if I don't do well or before a game, I get really anxious because I'll have thoughts about what if I don't do good,
right?
And stuff like that. And then just thinking about the future. I mean, just not knowing. I guess the unknown scares me too.
So it seems like you seem to have a fear of disappointment.
Yeah.
Would you say that would be a disappointment in yourself or a fear of disappointing others, or how would you describe that?
I think it would be kind of both. I definitely don't want to let other people down, but then I have such high expectations for myself as well. And so I feel if I'm not perfect, then I'm not going to meet those expectations for myself either. If that makes sense.
It does. Do you think by setting these expectations, are you saying that that's causing you to have anxiety? Because if you set them and then you don't meet them,
Yeah.
Do you think that is a factor?
Yeah, I definitely do. I guess maybe I could try to set maybe lower goals, but then I just feel if I'm setting these lower goals, then I wouldn't be getting to my full potential.
Right.
I don't know. It's kind of a lose-lose situation, I guess.
So maybe are you saying you want to set more manageable goals? Goals that are maybe shorter term, it can be achieved with putting yourself at a level where you can go beyond your comfort zone, but also still be able to achieve them.
Right. Yeah, I think that would kind of describe like what I want to do. But then like I do think about the future a lot, and like
Right.
I'm definitely like a planner, and like I have to like write everything down, and if things like sometimes like don't go the way like that I want them to go or expect them to go, then I get like really nervous about that too. I just feel like I'm like nervous like in every aspect of my life. But I do think like a lot like stems from school and everything.
So do you think that nervousness, do you think that carries over into your friendships or relationships or anything outside of school?
To an extent, yeah. Like I can definitely tell like I have to talk to somebody about like what I'm like freaking out about or whatever, and then like sometimes I can see like maybe it might be like annoying to them or something, and so like I won't talk about it, but sometimes like I can't stop and like I just keep talking about it and everything, if that makes sense.
So are you saying you need affirmation of things that you're going through? Someone to kind of talk to them and get an affirmation that you're doing the right thing?
Right, yeah, and like sometimes I just like need them to like kind of tell me like it's okay, like calm down, everything's gonna be okay, like it's out of your control, you can't obviously control it, and you just kind of have to let it be.
So it's a reassurance from people that you're close with.
Right.
Is almost a coping skill that you use to deal with anxiety that stems from being a perfectionist.
Yeah. And I guess like in some instances it's not like a bad trait to have, but then sometimes like I feel like it sometimes gets the best of me.
So you're saying it's not a bad trait to have. What are some positive things that you would see out of it?
I mean, most of the time, like, I do meet the goals that I want to do. I mean, I make good grades in school, and, like, typically, like, I mean, I like to practice a lot so that I am perfect, so I do well in, like, sports and stuff. And so I feel like I prepare myself. And so I'm very organized because if I'm like a planner, and if I don't plan, I don't feel like I'm going to be able to meet those goals. So, I mean, I am organized, but then, like, sometimes it just is all I can think about.
So, in a sense, being organized and being that perfectionist gives you a sense of security because that's what you go to. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, after I, like, get it accomplished and everything, I'm like, oh, well, that wasn't that bad. I shouldn't have worried about it.
Right.
And so, but, like, during the process, like, I think I do turn to that to give me security.
So it sounds like having those goals and having that frame of thinking is almost it sounds like instead of it being more of a burden, it's more of a coping mechanism to how you work through what is set before you in this journey we call life.
Yeah.
Is that
that's
accurate?
that's pretty accurate.
Because I mean, everything there's stress. So, would you say that the benefits of being organized and having these things outweigh the anxiety and other things that stem from being a perfectionist?
I don't know, I guess sometimes. I can't say it's like always worth it because like sometimes like I work myself up so much that it's like it wasn't worth it. Like I could have not tried as hard and been able to do something else, if that makes sense, like that I enjoy more. But then sometimes I'm like, well, I've got to where I am now because of this, and I have met goals that I really wanted to meet, and so it's got me there. So in a way, like I can kind of see both sides, like it is, but then it isn't, in the same sense.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I set goals for myself, and I accomplish them, and then sometimes they don't necessarily come out how I think they're supposed to come out. And so it doesn't mean that it was bad or negative. It just was different from what I thought.
Yeah.
So it's kind of similar to what you're saying.
Yeah, I agree. I think that is.
So if how would you say that reflects into your sports, and does it help or benefit or?
Well, like I said, like I'm pretty nervous in like every aspect of my life. But like whenever I'm playing sports, like I think I prepare myself. So I think like it helps me in that aspect, because if I'm like being a perfectionist, like I know that I have to like practice like really hard or a lot to make sure that I'm ready, so I am prepared for the game or whatever. But then like before the game, I'm like so nervous, like shaken. But then like once I get out there and like start playing, like it kind of goes away. So I guess it's just like a kind of a way that I deal with, like, I don't really know how to say it. I guess like deal with maybe the stress of playing, but like it's not really, I don't know, it's not really stress, but I don't know. I know like a lot of like my friends say that they have like different ways before a game, like how they get ready for a game. So maybe it's just like my way of getting ready for the game and everything.
Right.
Because I know like some people like they're just zoned in, like they don't want to talk to anybody. But me, I'm just like anxious and like ready to get going and like
Yeah. So maybe as a way to start like coping and to kind of approach this idea, maybe you could ask like one or two close friends to say, you know, hey, can you just be here with me before a game and encourage me and say, you know, it's okay, you're doing good, like positive encouragement, maybe from like one or two close friends to kind of help you as a way to cope with that.
Yeah, and I've seen like before games and stuff, like I like talk to my parents and like some of my teammates, like they will come up to me and like talk and kind of give me reassurance, which really does help. So I guess like my problem maybe is that sometimes I just need reassurance to like know that I am doing okay and that I am doing the right thing. I don't know, maybe I'm a people pleaser too. Maybe that's what it stems from. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay.
So thank you for coming in today.
Yeah.
If there are any other things that I could help you with or assist with, then let me know. And thank you for sharing and being open.
Yeah, thanks for listening. I think that really helped me kind of get me more reassurance maybe.